What's going on? Another Saturday in the garage. Today we've got a big day. I've got some flash bits inside this box that I'll show you towards the end. They're really nice. What else are we doing? So today we're going to start looking at water jacketing our exhaust manifolds. These bad boys here. So my brother-in-law James gave us a big round, probably 400 or 500 diameter pine log that we're gonna chop it up and then dish it out so we can panel beat our stainless to form to the extractors. So we need to follow all this shape quite closely, because we could just box it in with square flat plate, but that would look absolutely terrible. So we're going to have a go at panel beating, and we'll shape it to fit these nicely. We'll show you a bit more of that when we get round to it, but we'll first have to make the dished pine log. So we'll show you how we're going to do that. And then there were two.
Just mark this as a witness out there. And we'll just try and use the skill saw to put the dish in.
Chisel.
Yep. That's supposed to be a wood chisel.
I don't have any wood chisels. I'm an engineer, not a chippy. So the camera went dead, so I don't know how far you got, but we dug a big deep dish for the middle for panel beating nice deep curves, and we're just going to chuck a smaller one around the outside, a shallower dish.
There we have it. Slightly shallower dish. You can make all sorts of shapes depending on what you want to do, but as I said before, it should be in hardwood, but beggars can't be choosers. If we find a piece, we'll do it all again. Thought while I'm at it, I might as well put an even smaller one in, so we'll just put one there. Might be a bit harder to do with the sander because it's about the same size as the sanding pad. Well, it is. I'll just trace around one. Done. Just like I bought one.
So what I'm going to tackle now is I'll tack these on. so we can start forming some stainless, and then I will patch up this tank and get that done. So we're just going to start tacking on these half rounds so they create the form for where our stainless jacket's going. Just gives it an even spacing all around the tubes. So these are not permanent,
No,
they are just there to help
form the shape. That's the water in the end. That distance from the outside of that to the tube will be where the water will flow through. If it all goes to plan, that is. It's going to be a complex shape. We could just square box it, but we don't want it to look just like a big square box.
It'll look terrible.
So we'll give it a go. That'll be the last resort. It'll be a whole lot of pieces and a whole lot of welds, but we're going to try and do a bit of panel forming to try and at least get as big a pieces as we can. So that will be a test, because neither of us have done that sort of thing before, so all learning.
So the exciting stuff, these came in this week. The old man's friend Marcel did all this work for us. He set it up on a mill, a CNC mill, and cut it all out. So what we have to do to these now is add these fitting on. So we had to port these out slightly just to get the oil flow a bit better, and then I've got to weld these AN fittings on, and then they'll bolt onto the engine. We still have to put the hole for the oil feed for the turbo into that. So these came out marvellous. Saved us having to do it manually, and Marcel just chopped them out in his CNC mill. Just porting it out a little bit more so we get a better oil flow through that port. So I just finished welding the AN fittings onto the back of the oil filter relocation brackets. So now we just have to get a flat surface and hone them flat, because they would have warped slightly due to the welding. And this one here needs the fitting drilled in for the turbo oil feed. So it's going to come out the side of the block here and enter into this gallery, so filtered oil goes out from here to the OPR and then into the turbo. So that's one job done. So we're at the old man's work, and I'm going to go flatten these off. So this is a nice flat piece of granite. Just put a piece of wet and dry on top, and we'll just slowly sand it. So as you can see now, it's all should be flat because that's all the same uniform sanding marks around it. So we're just getting these ready to drill this hole for the turbo feed into this.
So we're just going to set this drill up in the centre of that shaft, about there. Then stick up our thing and we'll drill the gallery for the oil feed to the turbo. So I've scribed a line on there, which is right there. I've got to get this right, because if I don't, it'll go into one of the other galleries and it'll be ruined. So that looks about right there. Right, so now I'll swap that for the drill. So we're going to have a 5mm oil gallery, and this will drill right down to the centre shaft, because we want to take the oil to the turbo from the centre port, which is the port that comes from the filter. So we want good filtered oil. Just about through. So we can finish that last little bit by hand. This one up. I'll change out the tap drill for 1/8 NPT thread, which is 8.4mm. And I'll just check my drawing, how deep I need to go. So I've marked the drill with the depth we need to go in at. Put these away. There we have it. 1/8 NPT thread. Just have to blow all the crap out.
One complete oil relocation.
Oh no, we've got to finish boiling the hole for it.
We just have to finish that little hole, open it up to 5, like the first tool that we used. So what do you think? There's the one that's bolted to the block. If you look down there, you can see that little hole we just drilled and tapped there. So that's where the oil feed line will go into. And the fittings on the back of the units. And we'll just join those together. And there we have it. Nice relocated oil filter. Much more accessible. Here we are, just doing a bit of a mock-up of where this water jacket's going to go. So first we'll make it out of cardboard, then transfer it to the stainless and then start shaping.
Bloody beautiful. Wish the stainless was that easy to fold. We should be able to stretch that edge down to form that shape.
So we have to form that shape so we can get the bolts in. Otherwise, if you weld it straight across, we're never going to be able to get those bolts in.
But that's okay, that'll stretch. We'll be able to hammer that down, form that shape, that'll be good. Once that bolt's down, we should be able to get that in. Be a bugger to get at with a spanner to do up though. Oops. Right. It's lovely. It's perfect.
So that's probably the easiest panel on the whole lot.
We might start with that and then blend it into.
So if you rotate the whole thing over, this is some additives we've put on it to try and get the shape of the top side. So once the sheet's all folded up, it has to follow all these curves and touch every point basically.
It's called a butt. So we'll get a piece of paper, we'll get a rough shape, cut a piece of stainless out, and I think we'll start by putting that bump there in so that we can then sit the sheet flat and up against there. That's the theory anyway. Put that bump in, and then we've got to be able to swage this, so we're going to have to stretch that edge there, if we indeed can do that. Stretch this here and form that bump, and then shrink. Stretch and shrink around there, but anyway, tomorrow's another day.
Stainless is not the easiest material to work with as it works hard and as you work it, so
We're going to have to anneal it as we go probably.
So there'll be a bit of heating and cooling down and etc. But that's all we got done for today anyway. Got that done. We've got our oil feeds relocations on, and both tanks are now holeless or leak proof. So that was a good Saturday, and we'll continue on tomorrow.
Right, day two. Going to work on these headers to get them boxed in for a water jacket. So we left off last night, we cut this first panel. I think we'll do this back one first because it's the straightest panel on the whole thing. So if we get that one done, then the harder ones to go. But so we're going to have to be able to fold this sheet somehow. We don't have a pan bender folder, so Devon's going to make something out of all of his bits and pieces that he's got, so we literally need to fold something of that shape out of stainless steel. So he's got some bits he's going to chop up and make a little folder. Hopefully that'll do the job.
So I'm going to go and have a look at all my bits and bobs. I never throw out anything. This is only one shed full of shit. You should see the other one. So I need to find a piece of tube for one side, which that'll probably do it. And it's a bit big. That'll do. Just under 50, that looks just under 50 mil. And we need something to tie them together. So I'll use this piece of stainless here. So I'll lay it out on the floor and I'll show you what we're talking about. So I'll cut this square section in half, then weld this and this on one side, and then just have the material thickness in the middle here, so you can put the sheet in and then bend it either the big radius or the short radius. So I'll give that a go, and we can carry on building. We have to build all our tools. That's the Kiwi way, so I'll get onto it now. So that's all taken up. I'll try it on material before I fully weld the pipe on, otherwise if it's not quite right it'll be a bigger job to change it. So I'll check that out, and if it works I'll fully weld it on. So we've got our jig fixed to the makeshift bench. This was a jig when we built the boat hulls. So we fixed it to this, give us some leverage. As you can see, it hasn't changed from when I tacked it up. So we're going to give it a go, folding it and see what happens.
Just a little bit more curl at the bottom, get it to fit so it's touching all of our 6mm markers. So that's pretty good for a first attempt. Now the tricky bit is that we're now going to form this edge to match. Probably use this as a former. But that edge has got to be beaten down to match this shape here now, just to give us our clearance around our bolts. So we'll have a bit of a setup for that and see if we can get that to work. We might tack this to it because we want to stretch in here. We want to stretch there and stretch in there, form that down. So let's set up, mark this up and see how we go.
So there it is, welded on, and now we're just going to try some different methods to get it to move. So I think it's just going to be a bit of trial and error and a lot of messing. So we'll get back to you when we have something a little bit closer to what it needs to be. So while the old man works on the exhaust water jackets, I'm going to give these a bit of a spruce up, and we'll give them a sandblast and then paint them green. A bit more bling. And there we have it, one nice sandblasted bracket ready for some paint. Here it is all cleaned up. Spent 5 minutes getting rid of some of the casting marks. So we'll give it one of those nice green, grabber green paint jobs. Beautiful.
Right, I've been beavering away on this for a while. She's been a bit of a mission, but well, might be getting close, but that fits in there, touches there, there and there, so it's like the piece of cardboard finally. And our bolt fits in. Not a lot of room for TIG welding and a bit hard to get in there to TIG weld, but we'll have a look at that. I may be able to tack this along here and then knock this down even a little bit further to clear the bolts, but we're getting there, and we could also use bolts without the built-in washer. But yeah, getting there, but just a small piece of the puzzle.
We ended up having to use heat, that's why it looks a little bit discoloured. And
a little buff out later.
But it came out okay, so we'll carry on. So it's starting to take shape. It's coming along. Very time consuming.
We could get in and just box it.
That would be quitting, but I'm not going to jinx it just in case we go that way. But we'll carry on for now. So I've been doing some more barbecuing, sabotage garage style. Beautiful. So the back panel is pretty close to where we need it. It comes up and should meet with these ribs here. Here's a view from the inside. At the back at the back you can see the jacket. All day to make that one piece. So she's pretty much a monthly job. See how it goes. It's always easier on the second one. So we're happy with that, close enough, and we're going to start working on this panel now. So we'll cut another piece, 400 by 300 mil, put this bump in hopefully, and then shape it to that, and then roll it all over to meet up with that. But it's easier said than done, but we'll give it a go. So here's the panel that was worked on today. All the shape is bent into it.
See what sort of job Devon makes of his one.
I'm not doing mine. Graham's the YouTube panel beater. He's watched a lot of videos. And now he's a genius.
Still more.
So this is the second panel. And as you can see, he's just marking out where the bump needs to be, and that'll help transition it onto the stainless, and then we can start beating that into it. Just once it's the bump's put in, it should be quite easy to fold it round and meet up with this other one. So hopefully we'll get Simon over. Thank you, Simon, and he can help us sort out what wiring we need. And while Graham works on building all these, I can start wiring the boats, because this may take some time. So we'll have to repeat that whole beating process for along the top.
Beating or heating?
Beating and heating. That's about all the time we have this weekend for panel beating. We'll just finish this off, get it ready on the stainless, and that'll be it, I think. So we decided to go hydraulic with our Scott 612 jet pumps. There's the one hydraulic cylinder here for the trim, and another one here for the reverse bucket. And that's controlled by this lever here. So trim up and down, and reverse bucket. So my cousin Mark, he's a hydraulics expert, and he organised these hydraulic blocks for us. So you put the two pressure ports from the pump. We got these pumps off eBay from America, and the two pressure ports go in here, and then they swap out, and there's a couple are normally closed and a couple are normally open, and then depending on what we want to use, we switch over the solenoid using a joystick and a few relays, because the pump's reversible. So we'll have to sort that wiring nightmare out. So thanks for that, Mark. So that's another weekend done. We what did we do? Made a lot of noise, made some pretty cool parts here. As you can see, there's the oil relocation kit. Just needs to be all linked together. There's the oil feed for the turbo. Managed to get the lines all made for the OPR and turbo. That's all we got time for this weekend. So next time we'll carry on with the water jacketing, and hopefully we have the start of electrical, so I can carry on with that while Graham smashes away at that stainless and gets that shaped up. But as for that, that's it. We'll catch you on the next one. Catch up.